Racial stereotyping is a difficult issue to confront, partly because it's so pervasive, but also because it may be so ingrained it's unconscious. Begue is in Bogota with the story of one actor who's taken on a starring role in the fight.
Y entonces el guionista le dice, pero es que es la historia de un negro.
Ramses Ramos says he has always been different. While many actors report feeling this way, Ramos's journey to the stage is far from a typical actor's story. The son of a lawyer, Ramos grew up seeing injustice and knew he wanted to bring social change to his country. Back then, many felt joining a rebel guerrilla group was the answer. Then, just days before leaving for the jungle, he saw a play with a revolutionary message that changed his plans.
Y yo vi esta vaina y yo dije, epa, esto es.
I saw it and thought, if these people are saying these beautiful things and expressing what I want to express, and then they are getting an applause for it, that is what I want. I want a wave of applause coming at me, not a wave of bullets.
Entering the acting world in the 1980s and 90s, Ramos found a cause to fight: racism, staring right at him from his television set. Colombia's programming reflected the society's views on race. Afro-Colombians delegated to minor roles, characters most often at a social disadvantage and at the service of white leads.
Digamos que el negro era visto simplemente.
Blacks weren't seen as characters with depth. They were seen as simply a black quota. I need a black person, and that meant a cleaning lady, a bad guy, a driver. He's just black.
Research has shown these types of negative stereotypes affect how people view a race, in this case, African Colombians. But the racism involved in casting decisions is not something that can be fixed by new laws. Ramos says the result has been too many Colombians who prefer to be identified as white because, as he says, theirs are the stories that bring glory.
Critics say the whitewashing of Colombian stories permeates all storytelling and artistic expression here and doesn't stop at fiction. The country's history books, too, they say, are full of erasure of contributions made by various mestizo and African cultures in Latin America.
But more and more Colombians are pushing back against the white narrative. When we interviewed Ramos, Colombian protesters were making headlines, toppling monuments to white colonizers, like the statue of Christopher Columbus. Ramos calls it an angry backlash against a colonialist mindset that doesn't favor diversity.
Todavía no va a cambiar nada.
If the story being told is not changed, there will be no change. We need to allow that to happen. We need to tell the real stories of this country.
Ramos has worked with the Ministry of Culture in Colombia on issues of inclusion and equity. He has written, directed, and acted in stories intended to break down stereotypes, in the hopes that someday diversity is seen as a quality to admire.
Ese paradigma de los negros no venden.
That belief that black people can't make money in the box office has to be brought down, because otherwise things won't change, and programming won't change. And we will say racism is a problem, but it won't change because the country's narrative doesn't change.
Begue, CGTN, Colombia.